Today we're going to be talking about love. And it's one of those things where I got the title, I was assigned the title, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what are we going to say about love? Because haven't we talked about love a lot? And so we thought, well, love is the power on our path. So I started with Charles Fillmore. Charles Fillmore describes the outcome of a life committed to spiritual practice and growth as crossing an invisible boundary into the fourth dimension. So we have to look at that. It's our life committed to spiritual practice, and of course, love is the spiritual practice that our way shower left us. He really said that we need to love one another as I have loved you. So to understand that we're going into the fourth dimension when we commit to love. And, I remember in my studies learning that love is a decision. And that was like a big lesson for me because I thought you had to just feel love. And if you didn't feel love, oh, well. But that's not true. That love is a decision. And so no matter where you go, who you're with, what's happening, if you decide to love, the fourth dimension becomes the kingdom of heaven. So people always say, how do we make heaven on earth? Well, you love. And it's a spiritual practice. So we have to look at it as Jesus taught. The greatest commandment is to love God with your whole being. And then second is to love your neighbor as yourself. Sometimes that's not easy. So love is not an option. It is essential. And that also is love is the power. So all of us want to be powerful beings. We just do. And so we don't always think that love is the power. We think it's so many different things. But to love your heart and soul and mind, we all have the opportunity to live all that we are created to live, the pure potential of the sacred soul. And to understand, what is soul? We talk about soul. What is soul? So I looked it up, and it's human consciousness, a person's awareness. It's accumulated ideas and thoughts held in mind. So we know that saying, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So we start to produce what's in our soul. To keep it simple and to keep it Christ's teaching, then we just love. And how does that feel? The divine love flows through me now. So when you keep it simple and you commit to love, it makes it easy. You don't have to be fancy. I love that you don't have to be fancy. I love that you can just be simple and just be you. If you decide to be love, then that's it. I remember as I was dealing with this and birthing the beloved child in myself. It's interesting because we don't realize that we have to birth that beloved Christ child in ourselves. And as I was looking at some of my old writings, I think it was 2012 I came up with this, but I came up with words that would explain myself to me. And the words are peace and poise. I love that word poise. I think of Myrtle Fillmore. I think she was a woman of poise. So peace and poise, love and intuition. We have to use our intuition to live life. My son does that. He makes business decisions on intuition. He's good at it. We have caring and sharing. You know, a lot of times people don't share their goodness. It's interesting because you would think that we would just automatically share, but sometimes we keep our best selves to ourselves. I don't know why we do that. Why don't we just share? Being, meaning B-B-E, quotation marks, being and seen. To allow ourselves to be seen, to allow people to really look at us. I can remember I had a young girl who used to always come over. She didn't have a good home life, and I had little kids, and I was glad to have the help. And she would follow me everywhere. I mean, even when I was cleaning toilets, she was with me. And I allowed her to see me, just see me. To understand that we are a radiant light. And a lot of times we don't look at ourselves as radiant lights. We are radiant lights and we are shining bright. So it'll show. The feminine is the circle. We are circle eternal. The feminine meaning the love. We are the moon in the night. We're so rich and it's all around us. By the way, this is for men and women. That our spirit, soul, and body is both masculine and feminine. So we are the moon in the light in the night, and we are mysterious energy. It's interesting because that mysterious energy is always working. It's powerful. It's filling us up. You know that saying, my cup runneth over? Yeah, my cup runneth over. And we proclaim with great authority, I am love. I am love. It's a good way to live. From our book, week 5 says, of all the attributes of God, love is undoubtedly the most beautiful. You know, it's funny, sometimes when I get scared or confused or down on myself, I start to claim I'm a child of God, I'm a child of love. I'm a child of God, I'm a child of love. And to see written in this book, undoubtedly the most beautiful. I don't think of God as having attributes, so to see it printed like this, it's interesting. And to see it printed as the most beautiful. To know that God is, that love is. Love is what makes me feel good and experience good. It's so interesting that we can go through life and be afraid to share. And yet, that is what we're here for. We're here to love, the greatest harmonizing principle known to all humanity. Listen to that. Love, the greatest harmonizing principle known to all humanity. Now, I am a current events buff. I say that because I like you to know I know what's going on. It's interesting. It's interesting how we almost arm wrestle to get to the lowest common denominator instead of opening to get to the highest. Michael Beckwith, he's a New Thought minister. He says there's a sacred calling within you beyond time and space, forever hounding you to be more. He continues, yield to it. Now, we all try to be really nice when we're in church, but I love that Michael Beckwith used the word hounding you. We all know what that sounds like, feels like. Hounding you to be more. And whenever you ask someone in a spiritual setting to be more, it's definitely following the Christ teachings to be more love. So the sacred calling is to love. Love on the yellow brick road. We can feel frozen like the Tin Man was. Frozen in negative thought. I mean, that happens to me even now. All of a sudden, I'll have a day. Or I tell this story, but it's so real to me. I was going to a meeting. It was probably a church meeting. And I was getting dressed, and John was actually in bed, obviously not going to the meeting. And I was just like spouting off. I don't know if there was something at the meeting that was going to bug me or a person that was going to bug me, whatever it was. I was da 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 da. And he raises his head and he says to me, Donna, are you making stories up about yourself again? We make up stories about ourselves and then we believe it. Unless you have a spouse or a partner or a friend who confronts you and says, are we going there again? Are we doing this again? And then you stop because it was done out of love. You stop and you realize that there is only love. To understand that the sacred calling is to love, we can feel frozen, the Tin Man, the negative thoughts. And then all of a sudden, when he met Dorothy, he wanted to follow that. And he made a decision to love. All of us have to realize we have a heart. That's what the Tin Man realized, that he had a heart. We all have a heart. We all have the capability to bring into this world the commandment that John 13, a new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. So Christianity is not to be used as a weapon, as it so often is. Christianity is to be used as a recognition of love. And when people see us acting loving, especially in difficult situations, the idea that everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. That is very important. It's the art of living. We reflect back to our world the love that we are. And people see it. They might not understand. I was in my son's office. He's a chiropractor, and he went through Unity as a teen. And so he uses the principles of healing along with his medical knowledge to heal people. And there was this little woman. She was a little thing, a bitsy thing. She was older. She was a nun. And she came out of his office and she was standing there kind of in a daze. And she says, I don't know what he does, but he always makes me feel better. And that's love. Now, if he heard me, he'd be saying maybe a little of it's skill and education. But anyway, but to understand that this little bitty woman came out of his office to tell me, his mother, that he makes her feel better. That's what it's all about. A lot of times when I was going through waking up, there were things like, well, should you confront it? Do you need to confront it? No, you don't. You can say stop, always, if something's happening that is not to your best interest. You can use the word stop. But to fix it, that's not our job. Our job is in the art of living. We reflect back to the world the love that we are. Charles Fillmore says, this is a big statement, resurrect ourselves from every dead condition into which sense ignorance has plunged us. Charles Fillmore. Resurrect ourselves from every dead condition. How many dead conditions are we carrying? Into which sense ignorance has plunged us. That's what John was saying. Are you making up stories about yourself again? What was the dead? I don't remember, but I had a lot to say about it. What was the dead condition that I was stuck in? So we have to look at ourselves and we have to ask a question. It's a simple question. How has love come into my life? Did an answer come? How has love come into my life? One of the ways that I got to experience love was working with the teenagers of Unity. It was really something to feel that unconditional space of just love, non-judgment. To understand when we would be together with a big group from the Great Lakes region, which was huge. We co-created a spiritual kingdom in which we lived and we moved and we had our being in the healing energy of the Christ. The kids were taught that everyone was in the group. Now, they were normal teens from normal schools that knew what a popular group was. But that's not what they were taught there. We co-created a spiritual kingdom that we could all grow, where we could all feel the purity of love, where everyone was accepted. We had a little girl who had a different way of living, and she would always, for the talent show us her ballet. I love seeing the kids just applaud and care. And we were asked, does that give her a false sense of accomplishment? That's how we think. That gave her a fountain of love from her peers, which I am sure did not happen a lot for her. So there's a spiritual purity to the love that flows through us. That God is love, and in this energy, that's how we heal. People always say, I want to be a healer. You know, I don't know what that really means. I do know that if you bring love into a room, you can heal body, mind, and spirit, both yours and the person you're visiting. I mentioned Sylvia. She was a kid down at the hospital, University Hospital, I think it was. I was visiting someone else, who, by the way, didn't want me there. Part of the story of my life. And a nurse came in and she said, I got this kid in this other room. And, I'm very comfortable around teens because I work with them. And she said, could you go in? And I think she might have asked me to pray with her or something. So I went in to see Sylvia. And her mom was so glad I was there. But her mom didn't speak English. So when you think your words are important, put that to bed. Kind words are always good. But words as an important factor? So I was with Sylvia. I remember touching her feet. Feet are understanding. So when I was leaving, I said to the nurse, so what's with Sylvia? What's wrong? And she said she has 9 tumors. And I said, okay. So I went back the next day or two, I don't know exactly when, to see the person I was sent to see from Unity, who still didn't want me there. But there I was, because the minister told me to go, and I did. And so then I went to see Sylvia, and she was gone. And I'm going, oh my God. She was sent back to Ronald McDonald House, where the young people stay. Is it something else? Am I calling it the wrong thing? It could be. But anyway, she was sent back to where they keep the children. It could be Rainbow, whatever. Anyway, she was sent back to the house. And so I went to see her there because I'm relentless, and all her tumors were gone. Weird stuff happens. Why does weird stuff happen? Because I have any skills? Absolutely not. It's because my commitment is to love. So when I go into a room, if I touch your feet, if I see you, if I am with you, it's about love. So to say that love is the greatest harmonizing principle known to all humanity, that's true. To say that I am love, meaning, let's all say it as I am love, I am love, that's true. I make a decision to love because we can either love or not. Love is a decision. It's not a feeling, a cute little feeling in your heart. It's a decision in your will. And to understand, as Charles Fillmore says, we must express love. One of my affirmations is I am a holy child created in love to be love. So, lots of stories about going into the wilderness as I close. As the Tin Man realized he had a heart, as we realize we have a heart, we go into the wilderness. We quiet our mind and see the reality of spirit truth. God is love, and we are created in the image and likeness of love. I'll read that one more time. God is love, and we are created in the image and likeness of love. And so it is. Thank you for listening. And so now, as we sit comfortably in our chairs, we begin to let the energy flow from the very top of our head down into our being, resting in our heart space. We are under the care of knowing God loves us. God's will for me is absolute good. And so as I sit in the safety of this love, I know that all things work together for good for those who love God. If I have a desire right now in this room, I allow it to become my request. I allow it to be in the trust and care of this loving God. I am so grateful to have unity as my community, to raise my thoughts to the highest good of my being. So as I go into the silence, I say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And as we begin to come back, our Sunday affirmation, I trust everything in my life to the tender care of the Father, knowing God loves me. God's will for me is absolute good. That'll be our affirmation for this week. God's will for me is absolute good. So now is our time to give to this community that so blesses us and so serves us. So if you would take your tithes and your love offerings and hold them in your hand, and we'll say this blessing: with joy I give, with gratitude I receive. God's great circle of abundance is completed in me. I give to the source of my good as the source of my good. I give to God from God. Chesterland Unity has a lavish, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. Thank you. Just make the circle. Let's stand and make a circle. Let's do the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is good. Or good. There be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, united all. Let us walk in each other in perfect harmony. Let these begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, my joy is found. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Thank you for being here today.